welcome to another Happy Pod, the show with hot wings and even hotter questions. We're going to be talking about movies, TVs, games, whatever else, and we like to keep things a little bit juicy, a little bit positive. We don't always succeed, but we do have a good time, especially today because Nathan isn't here. He's dead, and he died because he drank too much bath water, because that's what he does in his spare time. Beth is here, though. Hello, Beth.
Hello. I'm a great addition. I heard that the bathwater that he drank was from Belle Delphine, actually.
So not only is he a deviant in his time, in his spare time, but he's actually a pervert also that pays for girls' bathwater.
He's a big simp.
I can see Nathan as having someone, as being someone that I wouldn't want to scroll down his search history. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe we should see how this podcast goes this week, and maybe think about replacing him for future ones.
All we need to do is one more. So the 100th episode is coming up, and for a long time Nathan was getting excited because I missed out on the Stranger Things episode, and so he was going to hold it over me that I had done 99 episodes and he had done 100. Whereas now we're both sat on 99 evenly.
You've got to get me in on the 100th episode just to say that I stepped in when none of you couldn't.
We'll have like a best moment. So like the in memoriam section of the Oscars.
Yeah. That'd be jokes. Yeah. And then on your 101th episode, you'll be like, woohoo, 100 episodes.
Yeah, exactly. That. Oh God, we should move it to 101. That would be funny. Bethany, we're talking about Nope, a film by Jordan Peele, who is just the king of titling movies in a way that makes them really hard to bring up in conversation.
Yeah.
Oh, have you seen Get Out? Get Out of what? Have you seen Us? Who's Us? What?
Yeah.
Me and you? Us? Oh. Yeah, nightmare.
Well, this is the thing, is obviously you've known me for a while. I am typically not a horror fan. Jordan Peele, you could argue, is, some people would say he's not a horror director, like it's not scary enough, blah, blah, blah. But the horrors that I prefer, if I'm going to watch a horror film, I prefer not to, but if I'm going to, the ones that I typically tend to go for aren't like, your bloody, gory, Saw, that sort of thing, like your Final Destination. That's not what I'll go for. I tend to pick like the psychological, paranormal, like It. I think Poltergeist is another film. Like those sorts of films, like the ones that make you think, that have you on the edge, that that drive my anxiety through the roof. I prefer to watch those. I really loved Get Out. Obviously him being a black guy himself, obviously he can take a lot more like personal experience from that, and it was quite fun to see it on film because I don't really think you get that conversation. He does things on film that you don't really see in conversation typically. Like with Get Out, Us was just completely, in my opinion, unique. Like the plot twist at the end, I did not expect at all. And then with this one, his third one, again, I'm thoroughly impressed with him.
So that's the thing with Jordan Peele. I think he does capture, like, there are different types of horror movies, and like there's like obviously the classics like The Shining, stuff like that. And then there's like the kind of the naff ones that are like cashing in on easy jump scares, like what are the ones where like everyone, like 12 people all die in like a couple of days or something, and it's like one by one they'll meet their end because they all shouldn't have lived past something, whatever those fucking movies are.
Yeah, those type. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah,
but then there are the ones that do kind of like make you kind of think and are doing something other than just trying to kind of quickly make get a quick easy jump out of you.
Well, that's the thing. It's like It, for example. Obviously, technically, the new ones that were done recently were a remake. I actually saw the original back when you could have CDs and flip them over, because that's how long the movie was.
Yeah.
Obviously, these days they did it in part 1 and part 2, but obviously it was just a 3-hour long movie back then. And I remember watching it, obviously shitting, like scared out of my brains, but I really liked it because like you learn the history, like there's the history behind the town, there's a history behind the villain. Obviously I don't like how it ends where he's a giant spider, spoilers, but yeah. But I like it because there's actually like a story behind it, and I feel like some horrors there's not yeah, like you say, they're just filling it with jump scares or
Yeah, there's no
blood or
substance to them.
gore. Yeah, where it doesn't need to be. And that's what I really like about Jordan Peele's 3 movies that he's done so far, because like I say, people wouldn't, classic horror fans wouldn't probably say they're horror films. I'd say they'd probably say they're more thrillers, but I quite like that. I prefer that.
Yeah, I don't think I would say they're necessarily horrors. I think we, Nathan and I had this kind of debate ages ago when we did Us on the podcast. And they're not really. They're kind of more thrillers infused with... They're thrillers made by a man that clearly loves horrors. Yeah, because there's loads of, like, kind of imagery copied over from this. There's a bunch of homages to, like, The Shining, not just in this, but in Us and Get Out as well. And maybe it's like a recency bias or something, but, like, I would say at the minute, Nope is sitting at my favourite Jordan Peele film out of the 3 that he's made.
I was thinking about that earlier, and I genuinely, it's really hard for me to pick a top one, I think, because when I look at all 3 that he's done, in my eyes, I kind of see them as quite unique. I've seen a couple of interviews with Keke Palmer and Daniel Kaluuya, and they say, like, you know, it is a typical, you know, like UFO type story, and how do you do those stories? No offense without it being a little bit cringe, you know, aliens and stuff that. But he did it like so well. I was like on the edge of my seat for the majority of the film. Like, I was so curious as to what it was.
Yeah.
Because you think it's something that you know, but then it isn't. And yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, he's got a brilliant way of kind of like subverting stuff and making you think you're getting one thing, but you're not. Like in this, even there's a moment where and it's played like quite a tense sequence where Daniel Kaluuya's character is like going down to the barn to investigate a noise, and then he sees these kind of like small alien humanoid type figures.
Bro,
yeah,
that shit me up.
Mate, and it was scary, and because it took so long for the movie to treat it as a joke, I was sat there thinking, like, for a minute I was like, this is creepy, but like, really, are we doing an alien mask face?
Yeah,
like,
that's what I was like. This is like obviously typical aliens, but also like, I don't like it. Do you know what I mean? It's just not something we're used to. But then that's what I mean about Jordan Peele with his, I feel like he's more thriller, but he has his horror elements, like that whole sequence with the aliens, and you know, you've got the silent jump scares and stuff like that. You know, the blood raining down outside the house is very horror-esque.
Oh yeah, for sure. One thing that I love about this, and I've heard different opinions across, like, you know, like reading shit on Twitter, just reading some like basic reviews for it and stuff like that, just to kind of gauge somewhat of a consensus. Because I don't think people are split down the middle on this, but they're definitely not as like, it's not as critically acclaimed as Get Out was. And I think a lot of people found Us a bit hit or miss as well. But this, one thing I want to get your kind of opinion on. This film is kind of, it's not 2 movies. It's really not. It has a plot line in this, the kind of the B plot line of this that does, you know, mostly centered in flashbacks, with all the stuff with the Gordy's home.
Right. I think I know what you're going into.
Well, basically,
did I get it?
Not did you get it? Because I think you would have got it. I think some people would be silly not to get it. But a lot of people think it doesn't belong in the movie, and the movie could have said it without.
I think it does.
Yeah,
I think it does. Right. So I went with Ben in the cinema to go and watch it. Right, and I've seen some people echo the same thoughts online, which he voiced as soon as he came out of the cinema. He was like, I don't understand why that's there. And
that's because he's dumb. That's because he's dumb as rocks, and he's a fucking idiot.
Yes, true. But what I took away from it, and I don't know if maybe this is because I've seen, like, you know, documentaries like the Sea Life Centre documentary and stuff like that, other animals, you know, they are wild creatures, right? And the whole point of the Gordy flashback scene is it's not just a connection with how animals behave and how they're controlled, but it's also a connection with what's the guy's name? Steven Yeun's character.
It's Jupe, I think he's
Jupe.
I don't actually think he's called Jupe, but the character is referred to as Jupe because that was the character that he played on the show, I think.
Right, I'll call him Jupe. So obviously, I think it was also a connection to Jupe. So obviously, you've got the obvious one where It's a connection to how, you know, the monkey, although it was well behaved, it doesn't matter what you do. Something can trigger it, and it can obviously go off on a rampage. So obviously that's a connection with, you know, the UFO jean jacket, I think they called it. That's a reference to how, you know, jean jacket can also not be controlled no matter what you do. But I also looked at it from Jupe's perspective. Obviously he was a child when that happened. Obviously that's so, I found that whole B sequence like way more terrifying than the rest of the film. It was awful to watch. I hated it. It was horrendous. Obviously, he's a traumatized kid, right? But it also goes to show that people like him can be affected, and this can stay with him for the rest of his life because he's, in a sense, mimicking his behavior as an adult to what he did as a child, thinking, you know, that this is going to go one way when in reality it's going to another. And it just, you know, the boy needed therapy. He needed more, clearly needed more, because he wasn't over it. You know, that whole museum that he has, that's not healthy. You know, if there was an option to take it out, I wouldn't take it out, because I think it's a great connection, personally.
I've seen so many people that, like, they say they would take it out, they say it doesn't belong in the movie, but I think it is the movie, like, at the sum of its parts. Like, the movie has this amazing commentary about how, like, given the choice, humans will always prioritize a spectacle over the needs and kind of love and care of a living, breathing creature. And Stephen Yen, I think his name's Stephen Yen. If I mispronounce that, I'm very sorry. I know you're not listening to this, Stephen, but yeah,
the guy from The Walking Dead.
The guy from The Walking
Glenn.
Dead, yeah. I know he's not listening to this, but he has an amazing kind of arc in this, where obviously that traumatic experience did happen to him when he was very young. And even when he's like, as an adult, he's asked to describe and like recount the events. He's asked directly what happened by Keke Palmer's character, and instead of retelling the events as we see them in the flashback, he just kind of parrots and repeats what SNL's sketch did.
Yeah, the skit. Yeah, he couldn't actually talk about the event itself. He could only talk about the recreation. Yeah, I noticed that as well. Yeah,
and it's so interesting.
Therapy, bro.
It's so interesting because he's obviously just repressed the fucking hell out of it. And obviously, like you said about still kind of acting with childish intention, because he's kind of been forced not to grow up because he's been forever referred to as Jupe from the show. But he's like the mentality that he tries still to profit off of like the newest spectacle that he can be a part of just shows that he's taken all the wrong lessons from it, and that's because he grew up in a Hollywood system where they prioritize content over care. And they also don't look after kids like they should. Exactly, yeah. I think the movie does have a really interesting point of view on like Hollywood in general too, like how kind of in search of pursuing spectacle and content, they've really exhausted like the passion from the people that brought kind of attention to the industry in the first place. Like you see CGI horse being like wheeled in as a replacement, like a green screen type horse figure, because they couldn't be bothered to deal with the real horse trainer, which is obviously Daniel Kaluuya, the Hollywood director who kind of like seems pretty like unfulfilled in his work, despite like the fact that he's obviously famous and talented. He's obviously like crying out to like get that perfect shot and do that perfect project that he cares about. But they like reduce his talent to shooting commercials, which it like I don't know what the movie said the commercial was for, but it clearly looked like superficial and stupid. Like the fucking Old Spice things. Like, yeah, they're fun, and you'd get a director that was competent in to do them because, you know, there's still talent involved in making that, like, you know, that Old Spice. Now I'm on a horse, I'm on a fucking thing. Yeah, there's obviously talent that goes into making them, but like, let's be honest, they're not benefiting. Like, no one sat there going, it's my creative dream to make a fucking Old Spice advert.
No one's going, it's my passion to do.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but yeah, no, like, what do you, I guess, what do you think about do you see this as like a comment on Hollywood in general, not just with the gaudy stuff, but in terms of other avenues of the movie?
In a sense, I think it the whole film is kind of a nod towards that sort of like fame, and, you know, with Keke Palmer's character Emerald, like, it was all about getting the money shot, you know what I mean, the Oprah shot as they called it. And uh, unfortunately, money makes the world go round, and in that world, it it also makes the world go round, and I just think it's quite normal to do things that you wouldn't necessarily want to do to progress in Hollywood. Like the director, this isn't ideally the thing that he wanted to do, but it's his job, and he's going to have to put food on the table doing something.
Yeah.
It keeps his name out there still as a director or whatever he is, photographer. So I think the whole film has that theme throughout.
There's definitely an element of like kind of being. I mean, like obviously there's an element in exploiting animals.
Yeah.
Like obviously because the first instinct is to make Jean Jacket a spectacle. The whole premise of OJ's work literally relies on him wheeling out horses for shoots that barely reward him any money because his business is in financial ruin. Like obviously there is a big element on how the animals are exploited for content, but there's also a really interesting kind of parallel about how the humans are kind of exploited, because if you look at them in this, there's not really any one of them that's content with what they do. Like Daniel Kaluuya's losing money. He's not given the same respect that his dad was, and he's trying like his best to continue his legacy. Keke Palmer was like neglect. I don't know the characters' names.
It's all right.
Keke Palmer was like not neglected by her dad, but she was never given the same opportunities that OJ was, and so she's now like seeking fame and fortune by doing something completely unrelated to her dad's legacy, like trying to become like, well, she even says like at the beginning, like, oh, I'm an actor, I'm an actress, I can sing, I can dance, I can do all of this stuff. Like
she says the farm is her second hustle,
exactly. And she's
yeah.
clearly like, the fact that she doesn't even pinpoint what she does, and she just pinpoints a whole bunch of stuff she can do, just shows how like desperate she is to find anything else beyond this life that she never cared about, and her dad never cared about her progressing in anyway.
No, because there was that little nod as well about the whole the Jean Jacket horse, and it being her horse, but then it ended up being the dad and the brother's horse instead, and she was kind of like pushed out.
Like with the amazing moment where Daniel Kaluuya decides to name it Jean Jacket, which showing like this is her calling. She's finally gonna get that moment to shine.
Yeah.
And my God, she does. Like the ending of this.
That spoil. Oh yeah, obviously spoiler. That little nod at the end where he's on the horse and she's waiting for the bike to come on, and he does that little finger to the eye and back to her, like a callback, like this is what I'm doing, and and
then he's alive at the end, and he's like he's standing there, like he's reclaimed the title of like how their family's legacy was built off the iconic shot of the black man riding the horse. How Jordan Peele kind of services that by positioning Daniel Kaluuya as kind of reclaimed a new legacy for the family,
reminding everyone who they are, basically.
Exactly, yeah. And it's like,
I think what also helps the whole premise of the film, personally, and you might have this on your notes, but it's also the performance from all the actors, especially the relationship between Daniel and Keke. 100% they were brother and sister.
Yeah,
like,
they're siblings. I refuse to believe otherwise. Like,
their chemistry. I've seen a couple of interviews as well outside, and they just bounce off each other. Like they obviously click, and they obviously work extremely well together on this film. And I saw they said that obviously naturally they. Even as actors, doing everything that they've done in the past, they still get nervous for their first day. And obviously they hadn't met each other before, but obviously Keke was a fan of Jordan Peele because she'd seen the films, and because obviously she'd watched Get Out, she was interested in working with Daniel. Obviously Daniel was used to working with Jordan Peele, but obviously not with Keke, so they were both nervous. And then apparently they said they sat down and they started talking, and then it just clicked instantly, and they were like, yeah, this is going to work. And you can tell because it translates so well on screen.
Oh, yeah.
And it was really good. I think the acting really upheld this film as well.
They've got that kind of dynamic where, like, they don't, like, they can be pissed. Like how with siblings, like, you've got a bunch, I've got my brother. Like, there's an element of relaxation around them that you don't have with other people, in terms of, like, I know, like, if I was around my brother, I could be pissed off like at him or around him. Not that I currently am or anything, but like
Yeah.
you can literally display any mood you want, even if it's their fault or not, and they will know how to deal with you in that instance. Whereas like if you came on the podcast today and was like really standoffish and stuff, like I wouldn't know how to approach that, whereas like my brother would be like,
no,
why are you acting like a
exactly.
fucking
Even
idiot?
though we've been friends for ages, it's still a case of like, oh, I'm not really sure how to approach this. But with family, it's like, what the hell's going on, bro?
Like, and like the impulse, yeah, exactly. And it's like the impulses where like they both just fucking absolutely smash that like high five type like handshake where they just like bang. That's just like that's the kind of stuff that sells it. And like little moments like that where it's just like, fuck yeah, these two clearly care about each other a lot, but you can tell their paths diverged a long time ago, and now they're just kind of finding how to regain that friendship again.
Because you never like, because I would agree with that, because obviously like me and my sister and even my brother, in a sense, obviously we were close growing up, but now where we've become adults and we're doing our own thing, I'd say we're a lot closer, and I feel like I know my siblings a lot more, especially my sister. Like we talk a lot more now than we used to before, and you know, it's finding that balance again. And I think the same with, you know, Keke Palmer's character. She was doing off on her own thing, and I think obviously what happened with their dad kind of brought them back together, and they're rebuilding that sibling bond. But you know, it's not that hard to do because, you know, they're your siblings, right?
Yeah. I think there's certain people you click with, and it shows the like siblings naturally. I mean, in most instances, I can't speak for everyone naturally, but siblings tend to, especially when they're older, they tend to click. And these two, like, it just shows what kind of phenomenal performances that they have, where they're able to just, I mean, like, great chemistry is one thing, but to be able, you've seen people with great chemistry play siblings before, and they just can't pull it off in the same way that this is genuinely like the most realistic sibling dynamic I've seen on the screen in fucking ages.
Like if it came out in real life that their family tree was somehow like connected, I'd believe it. 100%.
Yeah, I'd believe 100%.
It. Like I wouldn't question it. I wouldn't question it at all.
Yeah, I know 100%. And they're like just in terms of like them as performers and actors anyway. I had a note that says basically Keke Palmer is so charismatic that you just can't help but like cheer her on. Like you can't help but want her to get that shot.
Oh my god, I love Keke Palmer so much. I used to watch her right back in the day when True Jackson VP was a thing on Nickelodeon. I think she is she's so talented, and I would say she's underrated. She's like, lots of people know her, but I feel like she's only just now starting to get that, like, you know, proper limelight with like blockbusters and stuff like that.
I think she's got a following, but it's definitely how like Daniel Kaluuya had the following. Like he did some stuff in Skins. He took on some minor roles in like other stuff, but he was predominantly known in like a small British crowd. Whereas like Get Out happened, and then he was like world famous.
Exactly.
Like, I think now that she's having that.
Yeah, I definitely think that's what's happening to her, and I'm actually rooting for her character, but also rooting for her in real life, because like I think like her character, she's also very charismatic and she's just very bubbly. Like I don't really think I have a negative thing to say about her, and I'm just glad that it's able to be portrayed on. I don't know if you've seen any interviews with her. She did like a Hot Ones with Sean recently. She's very funny, and she also knows what she's talking about.
Yeah. I haven't seen it. I know I did see the clip, like the thumbnail on YouTube, and I was like, oh, that's definitely one to watch for sure.
Yeah, honestly, she's great, and I think it translates well on a little bit into her character as well. I can see it, and yeah, it's good. At the end when she's riding through on a motorcycle, and you're like, come on.
Yeah, oh, it's so sick. And she's like, what I love about her character specifically is that like their whole family are described to be like the business is on its arse. They're the last people that give a fuck about doing this, and half of them don't give a fuck. They're like basically their legacy is fading, and so kind of like without discounting like their experiences and everything. It's kind of like the bluntest way to put it is it's a family of losers that are losing a lot of money very quickly.
Yeah.
And kind of don't know how to dig themselves out of the financial hole that they've got themselves in. And in that family of losers, she's the biggest loser because she hasn't even really been fully, like, she speaks about how she was
working on the farm.
Yeah, she was never a part of it, and now, like, for her to come out and have her name finally credited with something that she was obviously passionate about from day one, and like as the film suggests, will lift them up into like a high regard in the field that she's interested in. Like it's just cool stuff, and like she sells it so well.
Yeah.
And
I just just thinking back, like when she started doing that whole well thing, I was like, you are so smart.
Yeah.
So
bro, I would have
smart.
forgotten about it. I'd have been driving back.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? And then she was like waiting for it to go. I was like, come on.
Yeah.
Then she got it. I was like,
it was like watching Jean Jacket fly over her and then like listening for like the clicks of the camera when it got into position. There was nothing more tense. I was just like, fucking wind it now.
Another thing I really liked about that whole scene, that whole third act as well, is which I've seen people complain about as well, saying it's goofy but I don't agree with them at all. I thought it was brilliant, but the scoring, because it's not your typical, like, you know, when they're like you know, it's chasing that scene where it's chasing Daniel Kaluuya on the horse. I was going to say motorbike, but it's not a bike, it's a horse. And obviously it's like coming up behind him. He's still in the circular shape. He comes up behind him, we'll see he pulls out the bunting or whatever it is, and that whole sequence with the music, it's like, I don't know, you might have to listen to it again, but it's very orchestral. I don't know what the word is.
Orchestral? I'm not.
Lots of like I don't know, in like string instruments. It was just very cool scoring, and it wasn't like your typical horror or thriller, or even like, it was a little bit cowboy-esque. I don't know. It was all good. It was all good.
Well, this like we definitely just pissed off a few music nerds by calling it orchestrically or something.
I'm not musically inclined, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say.
No, I get you. Yeah, and it's interesting choices. It like stuff that Jordan Peele does well in terms of like reframing something that's traditionally associated with something else and using it for a different context or meaning. There is definitely an element of like, I've seen Jordan Peele in interviews speak about how like over time Hollywood has kind of cleaned up the Wild West and like sanitized it and largely removed the concept of a black cowboy altogether, which is obviously not historically accurate. And maybe that's, I can't say I saw the whole interview. I just saw like snippets of it here and there. But maybe that's his way of kind of like of providing us. I mean, like there is absolutely no secret that there's like, it's, you know, it's surrounded by dust on a ranch as Daniel Kaluuya like emerges triumphant on a horseback. Like it's clearly going for a Western approach. Which is cool.
Yeah. I really liked the whole film. I just thought I liked the minimal cast as well. Obviously you had
not Dave Franco.
Angel. I really like. At first, I was a bit like, "Oh, he's going to be one of those annoying type people."
Yeah.
But towards the end, I found myself leaving the cinema quite liking him a lot, and like, you know, like his quick thinking when he was when he tied himself up with the barbed wired fence, which first of all, ow, but saved his life.
Yeah, smart guy.
Fuck the director, dude. Didn't like him.
I think he was always a fucking wanker when he was just always supposed to be a prick.
But the idea was that, you know, he'd go up, get the perfect shot of him being sucked up, and then the camera would be spat back out or whatever.
Yeah.
Which, but is it worth dying for?
Nah, I mean, clearly this guy thought so. Like, but yeah, he was you could tell from day dot that he was like, he wasn't there to help them. And that's, again, something interesting, like the fucking old white man is the only guy that doesn't seem interested in fucking helping them at all.
Well, at first, yeah, I thought he was going to run off at first and keep the picture for himself, and then I was glad because I'd rather him die.
Yeah,
than
he's
try and,
so old. He couldn't have even
credit.
got far. They'd have just fucking chased him with a horse and just fucking
Yeah.
trampled him or whatever, like he deserved. What a dick.
Yeah.
One thing that I love about this, well, two things kind of that I've got left to say, really. Daniel Kaluuya, his character in this OJ he's such a fucking talented actor, man. Like he's written to be uncharismatic and unlikable. Like he's written to be a guy that doesn't care.
Bro, he didn't really have many lines wrote for him.
Exactly.
For one.
And he's just like, but he's written in a way that you're like, he gives off a standoffish persona. Like even in the first scene, he's telling these people like, yeah, my sister's not here. Like she normally does this. I don't fucking, can you not look at my horse? Like fuck off kind of thing. He's very standoffish, not cut out for that.
You can tell he's never done it before. It was all his dad.
Yeah. And what I love is how the fact that he's written to be so uncharismatic, but he still pulls off a performance where you just can't look away from him. Like he's so...
Yeah.
Daniel Kaluuya is fucking... He's a gold standard actor, man. Like he's so interesting. Like his subtle facial cues, like the way he reacts to certain things, and at the ending especially, where you see, like, it's you can see a man facing death, and you believe it in his eyes because he sees fear, but he also knows that to kind of lay his life down to give his family a chance and give his sister a chance and maybe apologize for the years that he maybe played a hand in kind of neglecting and ignoring her.
Yeah,
like it's the right thing to do, and you can see all of those emotions just wash over him, and he's just there's no words for how talented he is.
His facial acting is phenomenal, so good. So I like those actors that don't have to do much, but you can see it all in the eyes, all in the facial expressions, like, but subtly. He's definitely one of those. I think he's gonna do so well for years to come, and I hope Keke Palmer gets more bigger stuff as well, because obviously Daniel's now, he's getting the big roles. I want to see more of her in different. She can sing. She's a great singer. Yeah, she'd be great as like she'd be great in a Whitney biopic, because if you look at interviews with Keke Palmer and interviews with Whitney Houston, they are like the same person. Like they've got the same personality, the same jokes, like and Keke Palmer can sing. She's a triple threat. Like honestly, she's one to look out for, I think, with new movies coming out.
Mate, I like I say, anything that she's doing, I'm here to see it. Like it just. This whole thing, everyone involved in this has kind of brought their A game in terms of a performance, and it's so nice to see.
Except the girl from Euphoria. Why was she there for like all of 30 seconds?
Yeah, she was actually, wasn't she? I mean, she didn't...
Barbie or whatever her name is.
It wasn't a bad performance, was it? She just wasn't really part of it. She was
what was the point?
It was weird to have not a big name, but a notable name playing a role like that. Yeah, because she literally just arrived and she was like, "Hey, what's going on there?" And Angel's like, "Not much," and she's like, "All right, bye." And that's what I mean.
Because of how big she is at the moment, because of obviously Euphoria, her, like she's really well known.
Yeah,
and it was like, okay.
Yeah.
Hello. Goodbye.
It was unusual. One last thing I'll say before we wrap it up. I don't know if you are too familiar with the cinematographer that shot this. His name, I do think it's a funny name, and I'm not going to laugh at this man's name, but I do think it's a name that's a silly name, but I'd love to have this name because it's quite cool. And his name is Hoyt van Hoytema, which is a great. Don't laugh at it, Beth. It's a cool name. It is a cool name. I didn't want to finish the podcast without kind of
saying his name.
No, not just saying his name, but like kind of talking about how much his work is appreciated in this film, because it's like it was shot for IMAX. Yes. I watched it in IMAX. The thing that shocked me about this, and I kind of had to think about it for a second, is most of the film is set on just this kind of American ranch land. And it's spanning as far as the eye can see. Like it's essentially
all
just
on
dust.
set location as well, which is great.
But it's essentially like in the shot most of the time the backdrop is just hills and dust, and how he's able to to shoot such kind of incredible imagery, not only like the horror shots that you were mentioning earlier,
making it look interesting even though it all looks the same.
Yeah, exactly. How the movie doesn't just feel stale and boring because it's largely shot in the same location. It's such a talent. And he's like, the one thing that I thought about, I was like, obviously all the shots with Jean Jacket are like the money shots of this movie, like all the stuff with him flying around, and like just largely taking up the frame. When you consider that was, that's an entirely digital creature.
Yeah, CGI.
So when you consider that like Hoyt's just got his camera out and he's pointed it at a fucking empty space, it's incredible. Like what he can visualize.
You have to have a
vision.
So. Yeah, you have to have a vision to do something like that. It was really good. And thinking about it now, I didn't think about it before, but like you say, the UFO, whatever it is, Jean Jacket, is not real.
Yeah.
And it all had to be added afterwards in post-production. And thinking about it now and how he would have had to get those shots and the idea, and very good. Very well thought out. Because it felt like, to me, like it was actually there.
Yeah, which sounds silly because like everyone's like, oh my god, it was really there. It looks so real, and it's not.
Yeah,
but it's just the fact that you like the actors are selling it, the cinematography selling it, the direction of like the camera is selling it.
Even the VFX, like it's not shit CGI or whatever.
Exactly, like, and it's it's great stuff. But we'll wrap it up there. Thank you very much, Bethany, for filling in. Nathan is still dead, but I have word that he might be alive next week when we're going to be doing this.
Late for what? I'm going on an adventure!
Cool. If you like this, then you can not only click right here and get Stuckmanized, you can also give us a little follow.
TikTok!
we're at Another Happy Pod on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTakery, where we're
TikTok, booming, poppity popping off.
Bro. Where you can find Nathan popping his pussy and doing the renegade on there. So that's a good time. Give us a 5-star review. Don't be cringe and give us a 4-star. We wouldn't appreciate it. Joking, we will. Thank you. Any engagement is cool with us.
5 stars only.
5 stars only. 5-star supremacy. Thank you very much for joining us. We will see you next week.
Peace.